Hello, my name is Noah Taylor, and this is my oral report on Jonathan Edwards' Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God for my English 231 class. So, before we get started, I'll do a little background information on myself. I'm 17, I live in Denver, North Carolina, and I usually don't like reading or writing unless it's something I was already previously interested in. So now for some background on Jonathan Edwards. He's one of 11 children, and he was the only son. He was born in East Windsor, Connecticut in 1703, and he was always a very intelligent and top of his class student. He eventually ended up going to Yale, and when he was 13, he ended up being first of his class at Yale. So astonishing, and he eventually became Yale's president in 1724. He wrote many scientific papers about atoms and light rays and rainbows in college, and these are some of the earliest papers to mention these things. He also studied the theories of Isaac Newton, and he was just always science-oriented, and he's always interested in learning and such. He was also very religious all of his life, and he ended up getting licensed to preach in 1722, and he ended up helping lead the Great Awakening, which is a pretty astronomical, is that the right word? I don't know, event in American history. That's what made us kind of Christian-oriented as a country. And he also published many of his sermons, one of which being Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, which ended up being his most famous piece of work, and that's what I'll be talking about today. So a little about general information about Sinners. It's split into 3 parts, and it's all delivered by Edwards in 1741 in Enfield, Connecticut, and his main message is that sinners must repent sin and turn to God. So he wanted to let his congregation, know that it's not okay to sin, but it is okay to repent those sins and get forgiveness from God. That's his main message. He also warns that God's judgment will be more fearful and painful than they can comprehend if they don't do this, if they don't repent sin and give their lives to God. So, like I said, he split it into 3 parts, and in the first part, he talks about the Bible verse. I'm not gonna read this right. Deuteronomy 32:35, that Bible verse, and he quotes it saying, "Their foot shall slide in due time," and this is a metaphor for people risking their lives and kind of just staying on a slippery slope of sin, and just risking their lives by doing that, and not repenting and such. And then in part 2, Edwards makes 10 interrelated points about God, sin, and religion, speaking about those things and how God will forgive you for sin, and how you need to give your life to him and stuff like that. And he also argues that God controls every man's life, and God alone determines if man will go to heaven or hell when they die. So kind of a strict message there, that God's the only one that can save you from sin. In part 3, Edwards directly addresses the sinners in his congregation and describes hell in a metaphor of lakes of brimstone and fiery pits. And if you don't know what brimstone is, I had to look it up. It's pretty much just like sulfur, which does not smell good. And then towards the end, he reminds them that until they change themselves, they are all sinners in the hands of an angry God, which is the title of the sermon. Just wrapping up a few points. So the eventual impact of Sinners is that after hearing the sermon, many people converted to Christianity, and like I said, it helped lead the Great Awakening, which is what converted America to be this Christian society, and what laid the foundation for America is this religion. The sermon also launched Edwards to widespread fame throughout America for being such a great message for Christians and stuff like that. has the impact, some relation to today. The sermon is actually still given by pastors and preachers, and especially in the South where we live, just being that Bible Belt and such. So I hope y'all enjoyed my oral presentation. That is my cue to go. Thank you.